I had to come up with the subject for my thesis as an engineer. And I was always interested in nature and stuff, and also a bit intrigued in water. And basically, when I started this project, I didn't really know a lot of hydraulics or such like. And back then, while thinking about what to do, I still remember it was somewhere in Ischl in Austria that I was standing on the bridge. Looking down, I saw the water of the river stream passing by a bridge. Now, behind the pillar of a bridge, you get all of these vortices, all of these whirlpools. Now, back then, I didn't know why those exist there, but apparently, what happens there is that you have two energy potentials, and to dissipate that, the river uses a vortex to dissipate it into heat. Basically, that was the inspiration, because I was thinking, if the river used that principle to get energy out of the water, maybe I can use that principle to get energy from the water into a generator. So that's the start of the project. And then we started working on it, started doing the necessary calculations to design a turbine, and then afterwards we could do the CFD, computed fluid dynamics, and really get some results and see that it was feasible. And then we started building this thing in the laboratory and really also get third-party reviews about it to see that it also actually works, that it's feasible. And now we're scaling it up. There were a few moments. I've had 2 times that they offered me a PhD, and that I could do it under the wings of the university and such like. But I knew some of the professors that I was also talking to about hydropower. They were really academic people, and in academics they really work out the whole theory before they even start building this. And this professor had been building for 13 years on formulas for a hydropower technology, and he never built anything of it, so he never validated it. Sorry. So he never validated that technology. And well, this showed me a bit like in academia they don't make fast progress, and as a startup I really can go fast. I just I need money, of course, but with VCs you have to go fast because you have to go quickly to the market, and you design only those things that your market needs. You don't over-engineer it, you don't add features, you just do the thing that needs to be done. And it's really better for focusing, but it's also just more interesting. It's not the easy way, but well, it's the more interesting way, let's call it that. You start to research some works on it, not papers in this case, but just good books of people who have done it before. And you start to see what strategies they are using and how they did it. And then you start devising your own theories and your own models. You just start, you know, it's just like applying scientific method. You just have to look what your environment is like, you have to see what you want to achieve in that environment, and then you have to define the steps that you're going to take to get there. And of course it's more fluffy than just exact sciences, because there's a lot of uncertainties there. But like the way I did it right now is just really build it quickly, test it quickly, and see what works and see what doesn't. And that way you can really make fast progress. Because there is a danger, if you started it as a researcher or as a scientist, that the first coming month you're in a condition called paralysis by analysis. This is a moment that you're researching so much, you're doing only desk research, and you're reading all the papers, all the books you can find on it, and you're doing nothing. You're achieving nothing. And that was with me the case the first few months. And then I had a friend who came from product development. They're way more practical than engineers. And he just told me like stop researching, start building. So we started building. And then you can validate theories, you can see what works, you can actually really refine the model, and you get like a Fingerspitzengefühl with your technology. And that's something you can't get from the formulas alone. So that's really helpful. Basically, the whole principles of called new product development. Like this is a process, like with design thinking, that you are going to design a new product. And as an engineer, you know how to design a product that works, but you don't know how to design it. Like in my case, it was I didn't know how to design it that you could also build it, manufacture it. For that, you need a practical knowledge. So, for instance, with me, For building itself, I needed to learn how to which ways of producing it there were, and I talked actually to a lot of friends who had that information. I was brainstorming with them the whole time, and they taught me actually everything for how to start making it into reality. So the fast prototyping techniques are also something you don't learn, because in university you just say I want this, and then you go to two old guys in the laboratory and you say I want this, and then they say okay, here, come back in like 6 weeks. As a startup, you can go to the lab, but someone else is screaming to you and say, like my co-founder is saying to me, okay, we have to get it done next week. So you have to learn a lot. I became quite handy in this startup. But also other things that you learn is the whole process of how to go to your customers and how to find those features that they need. Like also the whole sales process, how to find that person inside that company that has the decision, that can make that decision to buy your product. And that was pretty new actually, because I thought you could just call the people and see if they're interested, but some people don't have no power in the company to buy stuff, and then some people have the power but they don't have the time, and then you have to find the right fit there. And there's a whole process behind that that you can use. It's really like a whole call process. Like we actually build a whole decision tree when calling. Like if you get this answer, then this. If you get this answer, then go there. And then this way, our plan was to get to the person who could do the actual buying. The first thing actually for the first question, for self-promotion and such like giving a presentation is quite interesting. I already got a lot of courses doing engineering in my school. They want us to prepare us also for management, but actually I just found some books, make it stick or something, like those kind of books, and I just look at the theories there and applied them to my presentation, like tell a story and everything, and look at how I could find some solutions there, and just saw it as a presentation, like here also in Hello Tomorrow. It's a bit of theater, right? So you just have to see it like that. You have to present yourself. You have to make sure that your message comes over well, and well, just try your best. Not think too much about it. Most of the other people who are also doing presentations are also scared like hell. I saw that in the back, in the back on the stage. Everyone is nervous. But basically, also to keep on calling and such like. Most of the time, well, when I go to receptions and or places where I can talk to these people, I present them the technology, and basically it's about being stubborn, but also having a bit of luck and also having a bit of fun, finding the right people and see how you can make it work together. So, and also of course, if you build a team around yourself, like I built, I went together with my co-founder, and he's a complete different. He has a completely different skill set than me. He's more into finance and economy, and he's really good at this networking thing. Sometimes it's hard because sometimes you feel like stopping, but basically you cannot really give up at the first little bump in the road. Let's call it that, because then you won't achieve anything. Like we've already had several bumps in the road in our startup, and it's a bumpy road. You have to keep going. So,
what was our darkest moment or the deepest bump?
Running out of personal money, for instance, that you can't provide for yourself anymore. That's pretty annoying because you see your bank account diminishing. But then we got a funding round in order, and then we got our funding through, and then it's all okay again. So that was a difficult moment because it's really annoying personally. Other low points were also like that someone, like another guy from another company in doing CFD was coming to us and telling like your prototype is like not 60% efficient, like KU Leuven, the university made mistakes, it's only 10%. And then you're like, oh, what? And you're standing there without an answer because you have to do you have to recalculate them. And then afterwards you do the recalculation and you see that he just took like, now he's getting technical, but that he took way too much height difference because he took everything under the lab table as well, next to the artificial river. and actually he was probably just making us worried so he could take us in as customers. So yeah, you get sometimes these kind of assholes. Thing is, what I can advise everyone who is starting something like a startup is just to find as quickly as possible an incubator to go into. You have multiple ones that are free. For instance, we are in an incubator called Started from KBC, and that's just a place with all other people, all other startups who all are doing something, either app, website, immobilia, drones, technology. You get everything there. And all of them are having difficulties. So sometimes you just sit together with them and you tell them, no, listen to what I went through this week, and then they just go like, there's nothing, man, this. So that's really also a supporting movement, and then you can see like, okay, no one's having an easy time, and if it's too easy, maybe you're doing something wrong, because then you're not really innovating. The only person that's as stubborn as me, that was my grandmother, and she really learned me a lot. She was a really strong woman. She did her own thing. Also, she was now 89. She was doing everything she wanted, and well, in her youth she was a rebel. She was in the resistance. She was well, in her young days, when she was not even 18, she was fighting the war. Then afterwards she was doing all kinds of little businesses, but not really an entrepreneur actually, but just doing her own thing, traveling around and everything in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. So that's a different age period. But next to that, I have no one in my family who is an entrepreneur. I basically come from a family of lawyers, which is also handy, believe me. All your contracts and everything, I have some help there. But no entrepreneurs at all. No.